For us, it's a daily thing.
It's every day, right?
This is Mammoth Daily
We're going to take you inside the locker room
with Mike Folta.
We want this show to be about the fans, and we want this show to be driven by our Utah Mammoth community.
And Adrian Denny.
Fans can submit what they want to hear us talk about, what they want to hear Utah weigh in on. It's all going to be here.
Here's Mike and AD with you.
Utahns, countrymen, lend me your ears.
Right here on Mammoth Daily.
Hey everybody, happy Monday. Welcome to Mammoth Daily and welcome home if you're in the traveling party of the Utah Mammoth. I'm Adrian Denny. Thanks for joining us here. We're with you Monday through Friday. And thanks for tuning in, whether you're on Apple, Spotify, listening to the audio version, whether you're watching us on YouTube, on the Utah Mammoth YouTube page. Welcome. Thanks for joining us. Hit that subscribe button, like us, share us, and never miss an episode of Mammoth Daily when you follow those simple instructions. Thanks for joining us. I'm Adrian Denny. Mike Folta, Matt McConnell, and Dom Moore will join us for the morning after. Coming up, they will give us the recap from Ottawa on their way back to Salt Lake City, what they thought of this hockey game. I'll give you the top 5 stories of the week coming up in the Monday morning power play. And it's Hockey Fights Cancer Month. We've got some touching stuff to get to as it's something very special in hockey and very special to us. And we lost a fan earlier this week. We'll get to it all coming up here on Mammoth Daily. As road trip ends, Utah takes the first one, drops the next 3. They're back home at 9-7. They've played the most road games in the NHL, and they've played the fewest home games in the NHL. I'll tell you what it all means coming up here on Mammoth Daily. But let's take a look at that third goal for those of you on YouTube. Utah thinking that they had tied the game up in the third period on Sunday night. 22 seconds in, Jack McBain from the seat of the ice getting it through. And then we look over at the Ottawa bench, and they were looking at it on the iPad. Head coach Travis Green and his staff, they were hearing from the video room, and they called timeout because it wasn't clear cut on if it was goalie interference. And you want to be right when you challenge it. And if you challenge it and you're wrong, then you're shorthanded. So they would have been shorthanded in a 3-3 game. So they called timeout, took a look at it. You take a look at it on YouTube there, and they challenged it, and the goal was erased. The rule is the opposing player comes into the crease, makes contact with the goalie, and keeps him from playing his position. That is what was ruled there on the call. You'll hear from Mike, Matt, and Dom on it, among other things, right here on Mike's Morning After with our television crew. Matt McConnell and Dom Moore joining us here on Mammoth Daily.
4-2 loss to Ottawa. We're at the end of a road trip, and Utah, they think they get that tying goal right early in the third, and then it's all for naught. It gets wiped away. What did you guys think of that call? Start with you, Dom, and then what do you think of Utah's push in the third?
Well, first of all, it was quite the goal, right? There's Jack McBain sitting on his backside, finds the puck, shovels it in. He's got a smile from ear to ear. He's rewarded for all the unheralded things he's been doing and ties the game for his team. Lo and behold, it's called back for a goaltender interference call that I didn't agree with. I felt like, the ruling was made based on the fact that they felt like McBain's contact with the goaltender impeded the goalie's ability to play his position. For me, there's a judgment call that needed to be made there, that it was not McBain's fault after the contact was made that the goalie slid to his right, not knowing where the puck was. If you don't know where the puck was, it's not on McBain that you slid over to the wrong side of your net. So to me, that was the wrong call was made, and it's not the reason Utah lost. There's lots of things you can point to throughout the game that could, bad change or in the first period, lots of things to clean up, but it certainly was a big momentum changer in the game.
I thought the key point in that whole sequence was, the goalie got bumped, but then he had the ability and the time to reset himself in the crease. So once that happens, it's almost like the one play ends, the next play begins. And I didn't like it. And I'm not a guy that likes to sit in the booth all night and carve the officials, but I thought that one was blatantly wrong. And, it just happens. The ability to reset in the crease. And that to me, that's cut and dry.
So we get the call, right? It goes against us. I think every team is going to have a couple this year that are going to go against it in terms of goaltender interference. But then give credit to Ottawa. They push back. And now we sit at a low point in the season where Utah's lost 5 of 6. We've seen line juggling on this trip. Where are you guys at in the macro of this team and how this group tries to move forward after this?
It's hard to predict right now because there's just so much going on, and growth is messy, right? We've talked about that. It's not going to be linear for this team, particularly the young guys. Like Logan Cooley, for me, is a guy that really is fighting it right now. It was encouraging tonight that you got some big time goals from Schmaltz and Keller, who had been quiet over a couple games here in that stretch. So that was an encouraging sign. But Gunther and Cooley have gone cold. I don't think any of us expected that it was just going to be smooth sailing the whole year for those young guys. So in terms of predicting, though, when that will turn, that's a hard thing to put your finger on.
Everything that Dom said. I guess my silver lining is the fact that the 2 goals were scored by the top line, right? So we'll see. I think it's going to be good for the group to get home. And they'll have Monday off. They'll practice, I would imagine, on Tuesday, get ready for Buffalo on Wednesday. Should have confidence that they just saw Buffalo and just, they played the right way against Buffalo, right? They were relentless on them. So we'll see. And then you got the Islanders coming in. So just get home for a little bit. I mean, it's been a grind.
I think there's a certain element too. I totally agree with Matt. There's a certain element of fatigue tonight, but also in that 7-game win streak, there were games where Utah got the bounces, got the save they needed, and they just haven't been getting that over the last 6 games. They've played long stretches. You've heard Andre Tourigny talk about, hey, we played 50 good minutes. They've played long stretches of dominant hockey, or at least hockey where they've controlled play and had lots of chances and just haven't had enough to show for it and haven't got those saves when they needed it. So there's a lot going on in terms of different facets of the team that it's hard to predict how and when things will go next.
By the way, I hope it goes well on the plane tonight. Folta snores.
Oh, does he?
Snores a lot.
Okay.
You're right across the aisle from him. I'm sitting next to you. Like, Mike, come on, give us a break. Let us sleep on the plane, okay?
Some of us put in a hard day's work, Matt. I mean,
Matt?
Yeah. No, it's a lot of fun on the plane, but it would be a lot more fun with a win.
Sure.
Heading back. I
Got
think
a lot of snow to shovel off the runway tonight.
Oh my gosh. I think the rookies have to go out and do that. I think I'm out there.
You got a pickup though, right? Just throw a little shovel on the front.
That's right.
That's right.
We're right next to like this senator's truck that not as nice or as big as
Don't
as
ever
Big
cross
Red
the
back home.
axis. Didn't they teach you that?
I was gonna say.
Hey, there's Sarah.
Oh, break
Hello.
the fourth wall.
I look really weird staring at you when you turn around.
I was wondering what she was doing.
I think I speak for all of us when I say it'll be good to get back home to Salt Lake City.
Sure.
So, guys, thanks for crashing. This has
Sure.
been Mike's Morning After featuring Dom and Matt. We'll see you Wednesday on
Wait,
Hockey Night
hold
and
on.
you and Sarah.
There she
And
is.
Sarah on Hockey Night in Utah.
So you had a team that had won 7 straight games. They were 8-2 on the season. And all of a sudden, they've dropped 5 of 6. And we'll get to it in the Monday morning power play. But what was going so right that's now not happening? We'll cover it. But let's talk about a schedule quirk. And I'll tell you, folks, 8 of 9 on the road is a haul. And Utah got off to such a great start through St. Louis, Minnesota, and then on the back-to-back, they beat Winnipeg just over 2 weeks ago. And all of a sudden, they'd won 7 straight. They went into Edmonton. They're up 2-0 and haven't been able to get things really going from there. After the Oilers tied it up, Utah took the lead back, and then Edmonton stormed through with the win. Utah had those 4 days off. They came home, lost to Tampa Bay, went back on the road, played their most dominating game of the year in Buffalo, had that back-to-back in Toronto, and that's where you could see it kind of start to set in there. Little road weary. I think we saw it Wednesday in Toronto, saw it in the third period Saturday, saw it really in the entire game in Ottawa on Sunday, and it was an effort. I thought they were dominating the game. They outshot Ottawa 14-5 in the first period. Captain Clayton Keller dragging the team into the fight as he does. 1 goal in 7 games. Look at this. Got it on the goalie and then slammed it home on the rebound after the initial save was made by Levi Marilainen. And what effort there by Clayton Keller, for those of you on YouTube, to get his 6th of the year, tied the game up. Utah's effort was there in this game, but everything that led to an Ottawa goal came off of a Utah mental mistake, and it's fatigue. You're playing so hard, and then you make a mistake because you're not quite at 100%. And that's what happened in this game. And then the third period, you could kind of see just nothing really left in the tank. But it's typical. It happens in the NHL. Utah's not the first hot team this year to hit the road and run into challenges. Let's start with the defending Stanley Cup champion Florida Panthers with their injuries. Started the year 3-0, went on the road, dropped 4 of 5, came home, kind of got reset. Well, they're back on the road again. They lose the first game to Anaheim 7-3. They beat the LA Kings, and they lost Saturday night 3-1. So they're 1-2 on this trip. Winnipeg Jets started the year 9-3 with 8 of 12 at home. Well, they're now out onto the road. Lose the first game to San Jose. Lose the first game to LA. Lose the second game to San Jose. And they were behind in Anaheim on Sunday night. You look at the New Jersey Devils, team that started 8-1, just like Utah, 2 hottest teams, Utah and New Jersey. They come out on the road. They lose at Anaheim 4-1, beat LA, lose at San Jose 5-2, lose at the Abs 8-4. It's just what happens. Playing on the road in the NHL is hard, and it's you see the atmosphere at Delta Center, and you see how great that is. Every NHL team has their home environment that pushes them forward. Boston Bruins, one more example here. They started the year 3-0, lost a home game to Tampa Bay. Does that sound familiar? And then they go on the road. They lose 3 straight. Vegas, Utah, Colorado. It snowballs, losing 6 of 7. They've now won 6 in a row. Everything in the NHL is up and down. You prefer to keep it as even keeled as possible, and that's why you talk about you win a game and you enjoy it till midnight. You come back and you reset. You lose a game, you're upset till midnight. You come back and reset. And in that locker room, after the game on Saturday night, I'm sure that there was volume and frustration, and guys really upset at how that game ended. Final 6 minutes just unraveled. You could see it. After the game Sunday in Ottawa, I can tell you how it was in that locker room. I've been in a locker room at the end of a trip dozens of times, more than I care for, and it's usually going to be like that after a loss because it takes its toll. You're tired. And we were talking about this. Let's just split this road trip. Utah got 1 of 4. They finished the 8 of 9 stretch with a 5-4 record, which to me is more than sustainable after taking 3 of 4. That was so huge when they were fresh, when they were rolling, to get those 3 wins, lock them up. That game in Winnipeg where they won it in the third period, that was absolutely massive because, probably going to catch up to you as it did to the Mammoth here, I feel, as this trip came to an end. But after game Sunday, quiet locker room, quiet flight home. You just want to get home, and you're upset, but it's channeled, and you're back home Wednesday, and then you've got a day off today here in Salt Lake. The sun's going to be out. Sleep in, run some errands, go to the grocery store, get a haircut, have a home-cooked meal from your kitchen after really the last 2.5 weeks of going from airport to bus to hotel to unpacking to eating every meal in a banquet room to working out in conference rooms. You know, when you're on the road, you turn hotels into gyms. And to be back at their facility on Tuesday with a fresh practice day and being in Delta Center on Wednesday night, it's going to be huge for this team. 9-7 right now, 18 points, 7-6-3 last year at this time, 17 points. But from that point, this team lost 4 or 5 last year. And now you're home for 6 of 8, get settled, get going again. We saw this team at their best. They'll get back there. But they were carried into action on Sunday by their stars. And Nick Schmaltz, Clayton Keller, finding a way to get Utah in the game and keep them involved in the game. And they pushed back. They fell behind 1-0, 4:34 later, tied it, fell behind 3-1, 3 minutes and 4 seconds later, got back within a goal. And they just didn't have enough in the tank. Just did not have enough. And I told you, and I've exhibited it, how it goes in the NHL, but that's how it is. Still feel great about this team. It's an exciting group. And again, the Monday Morning Power Play, top 5 stories of the week coming up will completely unpack even more of everything right now for your Utah Mammoth. Let's get head coach Andre Tourigny. Let's get his thoughts from after this contest. What did he see?
I think we generate good offense against a really stingy team. Unfortunately, we could not shut the door. I think we had a little bit too many turnover. That's unfortunate, and we need to find a way to pull through. We're doing a lot of good stuff, but it will be good to get back home and regroup. I like the way they generate as well. They attack the net. They attack the net with speed. They cut at the net. So, like I said, Ottawa is one of the best teams in terms of everything defensively, basically. The way they protect their slot and stuff like that. And we did a really good job to get there and to have great looks there. So that's a positive part of our game. Obviously, like I said, a few puck management will have changed again.
So there's head coach Andre Tourigny, and again, talking about Keller and Schmaltz kind of leading the way, getting the offense going in that one. So the big question is for Utah, what's happening now, losing 5 of 6, that wasn't happening when they were winning 7 in a row? Margin of error is very, very thin. Let's hear more from head coach Andre Tourigny.
When you win, there's a lot of stuff happen, right? The puck doesn't hit you and go beside the net, hit you and go in the net, and you get, example on the 6-on-5. We have an open net. We should have hit their goalie was not even in the net. That kind of stuff. I think right now it's just the line is always thin, and right now we're on the wrong side of it.
That's it. It's a thin margin of error. 75 to 80% of the games in the NHL are tied or within a goal in the third period, and are 1-goal games or 2-goal games with a late empty netter. The margin's so thin. You look at this game, 1-goal game in the third, 1-goal game in the third in Montreal, tied in Toronto, as that game started to matriculate down the stretch, tied in Buffalo, found a way to win it. That's it. Winning games in the third period. It's a big deal. So what does it take to get back and going how we were a couple weeks ago? Let's hear from Nick Schmaltz.
I think just not getting down on ourselves. I think maybe, when you go through tough stretches and you're not winning games, you seem to, I don't know, just you get frustrated easier when they score. You don't. We need that drive, that energy. We can come back no matter how many we're down, 1, 2, doesn't matter. We gotta want it. We gotta want the puck. We gotta want to be able to make those plays when it counts. And I feel like a lot of the times when they get one, they get another one, and we got to be able to stop that and turn the momentum back in our favor and just play our game like for a full 60 minutes, because no one can really play with us when we're playing at our best.
And we've seen it. They were untouchable during that 7-game winning streak. They took care of Calgary, San Jose, Boston, Colorado. That's when they really got going. St. Louis, Minnesota, Winnipeg. They'll get back there, but you're not going to win 7, lose 1, win 7, lose 1, especially with 8 of 9 on the road. And the good news is, with the fewest home games played in the NHL, guess what? Guess who has the most home games left in the NHL the rest of the way? That's right, your Utah Mammoth. Adrian Denny with you right here on Mammoth Daily. Like to invite you to take part in our Tuesday mailbag that is going to come your way in tomorrow's episode. If you have a question, you can leave it in the comments on YouTube. You can hit us up on Twitter, on X at 801 Adrian Denny on Twitter or X. You can do it by leaving us a message. You can send us a video. We'd love to hear from you. Love to answer your questions on tomorrow's episode in our Tuesday mailbag. We'll come back. Our Monday morning power play, top 5 stories of the week, going in to what is next for Utah. 6 of 8 here at home. We'll get to the top 5 stories of the week coming up right after this here on Mammoth Daily.
Get ready for the Monday morning power play.
Back on Mammoth Daily, and it's time for your Monday morning power play, your top 5 stories of the week. And your number 1 story for Utah coming into the week is back at Delta Center. 2 games this week, Wednesday night with Buffalo, Friday night with the New York Islanders, weekend off, Monday in Anaheim, Tuesday in San Jose, and then back hosting Vegas, the Rangers, Vegas, Montreal, going into Thanksgiving. So why is this team lost 5 of 6? Because they haven't been at Delta Center. They haven't been at the best rock show in the NHL. The atmosphere, the energy, the 4-1 record, that's a big deal for Utah. And as I said, most home games in the NHL the rest of the way, starting with 6 of your next 8 at Delta Center. Let's get to number 2. You remember when the Mammoth came back from that first road trip of the year at 1-2? And we're like, they've scored 5 goals in 3 games. What are they doing? What's going on? And that's what it took. More Delta Center. 4-0, got things going, and they've got a chance to do it again. But, Delta Center being at the Southtown training and practice facility, boy, that's a lot different than going hotel to arena to having walkthroughs and stretches in ballrooms at hotels and eating every meal in a banquet room for a week. That's what happens when you're on the road. Your team meals are in banquet rooms. And at home, you've got your chef, the Southtown training and practice facility, your chefs with the smoothies and all the good stuff we talk about with the guys on the Odd Man Rush, and the good food, the square footage where you can work out, prepare mentally, physically, be ready. That's a big deal for the Mammoth coming back home. But remember how quickly it turned. 1-2 became 4-0, became a 7-game winning streak. Pretty quickly. Didn't take too long. Number 3, Buffalo Sabres coming to town. Utah going to look to go to 4-0 all time against Buffalo. They've outscored them by a 12-3 margin in 3 games. They saw them less than a week ago. It was a scoreless game until the third period. Utah took the lead. Buffalo tied it. Utah won it in overtime. Sabres now 5-6-4, but you can tell. Mike said it on Tuesday night. The impact that Josh Doan and Michael Kesselring have brought to that club, mainly from just an attitude standpoint, a breath of fresh air. It's a different Buffalo team. They've struggled though on the road. They're 0-3-2 on the road. They opened a trip on Saturday, lost in Carolina. They'll be in Utah Wednesday. Then they go to Colorado, then to Detroit. Utah are going to look to keep them winless on the road as Josh Doan and Kesselring come back to Salt Lake City. Let's get to number 4. What won games when Utah was on that 7-game winning streak? The Stars were the Stars. Clayton, Keller, Nick Schmaltz, Barrett Hayton, JJ Peterka, Dylan Gunther, Logan Cooley had 23 goals in 7 games. They have 8 goals combined in the last 6, where Utah's lost 5-6. Stars will become the stars, and it's going to come. Utah went out and acquired J.J. Peterka for a reason. They wanted to add a little more offense to the core, and you saw what Utah had when they were rolling. The top 2 lines in the NHL, and just need to get that going again. Delta Center is going to make it happen. Power play went 7 for 20 during the 7-game winning streak. It's 0 for 13, losing 5-6. Third periods outscored the opposition 12-5. Turned the games in our favor in those third periods on the 7-game winning streak. Been outscored 11-3 during this stretch of losing 5 of 6. So it's pretty basic. Starts with the stars, scoring goals, scoring on the power play, getting a big goal in the third period, moving on. Goaltending. Goals allowed. Utah, 8-2 start, allowed 4 goals or more once in their first 10 games. They've allowed 4 goals or more 5 times in the last 6. And you can look at some defensive breakdowns. You can look at pucks. The goaltenders would have liked to have saved, including a few to wrap up this road trip. But those are what was winning games. Stars with the stars. Power play was clicking. Win in the third period. Big timely saves by the goaltenders. And number 5, let's take a look at the Western Conference right now, because we've had some mixing and matching. As you look at the standings on this Monday morning power play, 4 of the 8 teams in playoff spots were not in the playoffs last year. In Chicago, Utah, Seattle, and Anaheim. 13 of the 16 teams right now, 500 or better. Teams not in a playoff position, Edmonton, 6-4. Whew, did you see that? They gave up 9 to Colorado on Saturday. St. Louis, 5-8-3. Calgary, the last team out last year, 4-11-2. How about the San Jose Sharks, led by Macklin Celebrini, 7-6-3. Colorado Avalanche, exactly where I thought. I thought they'd go on in Edmonton from last year, winning 14-15 to start the year. Well, pretty close. Only 1 regulation loss, 9-1-5. As we bring this to you on your Monday morning power play. That is the Monday morning power play. Your top 5 stories of the week. First 4, always for your Mammoth. And then the 5th, a timely, topical NHL story. It's Hockey Fights Cancer throughout November here in the National Hockey League. Our Hockey Fights Cancer game will be November 22nd against the New York Rangers. And I'll have more on that, including a special friend that we lost within the last week, when we continue right after this on Mammoth Daily.
This is Mammoth Daily.
Back on Mammoth Daily, and it was a great sight in Montreal on Saturday night. Both teams involved in the Hockey Fights Cancer game presentation. As you see, Lawson Krause, Karel Vejmelka, all the guys that were in the starting lineup for Utah on Saturday night, skating out with a hero who's battled cancer. And I was so grateful for the Montreal Canadiens for letting us be involved and be a part of everything that happened in their Hockey Fights Cancer celebration on Saturday night. Ours is coming up on Saturday, November 22nd, when the Mammoth take on the New York Rangers from Delta Center. It's always going to be a special night, so see if you can join us for that. And our SCG Foundation and our community team will have a great program for us to all come together. Remember all of our dear friends and family who have fought cancer, battled cancer, succumbed to cancer, and we'll remember them. We'll fight for them, and hope you can be with us for Hockey Fights Cancer, because it's always a magical, magical evening, and the team on the ice is always really, really inspired by it. We lost a dear, dear friend in the last week. A Mammoth fan, a Jazz fan, passing away, 26-year-old Carson. For those of you on YouTube, you see him right there with his lovely aunt, Joanna. See Joe Jazz on Twitter. Carson had lymphoma, went into remission It returned just a few weeks ago, and he passed away within the last week. But we'll remember him, and so glad that he was able to be a Mammoth fan and a Jazz fan and spend so much time with our community and family here in Utah, and his Aunt Joanna always taking great care of him. And may Carson rest in peace, and our thoughts be with Joanna, and we'll remember him here in the arena every night. And Hockey Fights Cancer for Carson coming up on Saturday, November 22nd. Wanted to make sure that we hit that for Hockey Fights Cancer and for Carson. Passed away while the team was on the road trip, but had to dedicate the third period of today's show to him. Folks, thank you for joining us. All the best, and we'll be with each other fighting cancer here during the month of November and every day right here on Mammoth Daily.